Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hot Topics, the show, the podcast, where we create, transform, and
Inspire.
inspire. This is Gloria Goldberg, the founder of the podcast Unbreakable Life with Glory, where I talk about depression, anxiety, and PTSD in a holistic way, a natural way to always make you feel better. And next to me, like always, my beautiful co host, Kia Baker.
Hi, everybody. So, if you don't know me by now, my name is Kia Baker. I am the creator and host of the Female Veterans Podcast, the upcoming video series Women Warrior Stories for the Veterans Channel, and success coach at London Real Academy, where I get to meet amazing people and connect with them and oftentimes bring their stories to you.
Exactly. That's what we do the best.
And we have fun doing it.
It does. It does. How are you today, Kia?
I'm really excited. I have a lot of things going on, new projects that are popping up and going well for me. So I'm really
Yes.
excited. And of course, our fearless leader at London Real Academy is running for Mayor of London.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
provides endless excitement.
It does. I does. I saw his social media like 2 days ago, 3 days ago. He got arrested.
He did. Surrounded by 10 cops. I got to hear that story yesterday in our meeting. And thankfully he was back, he was released. But yeah, he absolutely did get arrested and fined.
He did it. It looks like when I saw that, it looks like a movie.
I know.
With the umbrella, with the camera, and all the police around him. It was like, oh
I
my
mean, I
god.
don't know what luck that man has, but even his bad luck is good luck. Like, I don't
Well,
understand.
everything for him is good. So if it's
Yeah.
bad, it's good. If it's good, it's good.
That just goes to show mindset is everything, right? Perspective.
Exactly. And that's what I admire about him because he's very determined on what he do and what he said. He don't go and say things just to say it. And I love about that about Brian Rose, that he's like confident in whatever he put the head in, he just go through. And I know a lot of people maybe say a lot of things about him, but you know what? I personally know him, and he's a very cool guy, very down to earth, and very simple person to talk with.
Yeah, well, not everybody loves everybody, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
like I always say, people make mistakes. So I'm
Yes.
sure he's made mistakes. I'm sure he's made some people that used to be friends that aren't friends anymore, and
Right.
people that used to follow, London Real and they don't follow anymore. But that's okay because not everybody's everybody's cup of tea. But what I do know is that he means well. And so,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. We are not $100 bills like everybody like it.
Right. Yeah, because I don't know one person who doesn't like $100 bill.
Exactly. Maybe we put the face our face in the dollar. Maybe they're gonna like us.
So, where are you? Because I know you said you were going on vacation, and it
Yes.
looks really cool where you are.
Yes, right now I'm in Chimney Rock in North Carolina, and right now the weather is very beautiful. It's like a 50, 52, but because I'm in the shade and next to a rock, it's very cold, and I'm not used to this. And when you are like a stay like this, then the cold start coming in. But when I'm hiking, I don't wear this because it's too hot. But here is beautiful. I love it. And then when I find the place to do hot topics here today, say, oh, I want to see how it goes. Doing a podcast from the mountains for a place that is in nature because I always do it from home. So this is like a differently, and I this is kind of the concept I want to create for my future.
That is beautiful, actually. So, you're enjoying North Carolina. What have you done so far? Hike?
We hike. We've been doing every day like 8, 9 miles so far. Like the list one was like 5 miles, and and that's what I like to do because it's the connection. I come here just to connect with myself and connect with the nature, and I'm have a passion for this. This is like I'm here. This is Gloria, you know.
That's amazing. Oh, I
Oh,
don't like you don't like $100 bills, really?
no, I think he liked the dollar bills with our face.
Yeah, we don't like $100 bill with our faces on it, right? Put mine on $1,000 bill.
Exactly.
$1 million bill. Yeah.
Yes,
Anyway,
yes.
so how you doing, Tendai, sweetheart? What you been up to? I'm glad to see you could pop by. Are you
Success.
working? Are you working right now? You're supposed to be working. Are you off? So,
So where I'm here, like the COVID restrictions are very like they're like some a lot of restaurants are closed, and it's like if you feel sad when you see that, and I know there's a lot of business that they're gonna disappear completely because there's some people cannot go maybe another week or 2 weeks without an income from the business,
yeah.
so it's kind of hard to see this. And I don't know where this going, but you know, it's tough for a lot of people right now.
Oh, I know. Like, it's just ridiculous how hard
Yes.
it is. I mean, look, my son's preschool closed completely.
Ah.
Like, and it took me 2 years to find that school. I loved that school. They were amazing there. And he loved it there too. And
Ah.
it's been so hard for me to find a school for my kid. I'm now homeschooling, and I homeschooled my first one, so I'm not new to it, but I
Right.
didn't intend on homeschooling this one. I intended to let him go to school and have that experience. My first kid went to preschool too, so it's just tough because it was an amazing school with great teachers, and they were displaced because of everything happening. So it's
Exactly. You know, when I come here to the mountains, and you know, looks great, Gloria, but you're supposed to say undisclosed location. Ah.
That's right, Tendai. She's not supposed to say where she is.
Exactly. Well, I'm gonna be here provisional, but I'm in another place later.
Hi, George.
Hey, George. So
Thanks for popping on.
that's why, Kia, when we talk about transformation, one of my transformation is coming into minimalist. You know, I've been in this minimalist thing for a year and a half already, and it's not an easy process. It's a process that have to be like little by little because it's you buy stuff, you collect stuff for reasons. So when you go through stuff, you go through emotions and you go through stuff. So that's why I said I like to live in the mountains to have a simple life. And now, like now, when you are into that, like a journey to simplify your life, then you see like a videos how people can get the houses that doesn't cost too much, like a electric, like a solar panels, the water, because I want to live like a Gloria out of the grid, or Gloria in the grid, something like that.
You're going off the grid, Gloria.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
Right.
when I want to go. If I want to achieve that kind of life, I need to let it go a lot of stuff, material stuff that we don't need. That is me. What about you? What did you?
My bad. My bad. Okay, you work, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow on tomorrow's show. It's gonna be
Okay. I hope your boss is not watching this.
I know, because then you're screwed. Anyway, anyway,
You should tell him to watch our topic so he can give you this hour for break.
that's actually a good strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I am. I agree with you. I am constantly trying to go through stuff and minimalize, and it is a never-ending process. I
No,
keep finding more and more crap to have to get rid of, and and I haven't even got to my garage yet. So
I know that. Like right now with this, like already I'm been hiking. Today is Thursday. I've been hiking for 4 days, so I already know exactly when I go home what I'm gonna throw out. I'm gonna throw everything for Christmas little things here and there is gonna go out of my house as soon as I come home.
You're not decorating for Christmas anymore.
Not anymore. I don't need that because I want to be free to go everywhere without nothing.
Wow. That's amazing. I guess, and you don't have any small kids. See, me, I have small
Mm-mm.
kids.
Yes, you
Like
do.
that
I'm
stuff.
not.
Right. So, but you know what they told me this year? They were like, don't get a live tree anymore. And I was
That's
like, really?
awesome. I
They
love
were like,
that.
I was like, really? You don't want me to get a live tree? And they were like, yeah, no, it's just a mess when it's time to clean it up. And my son was like, it's more cost effective to just get a really, really nice fake tree. And then
Yes.
we can use it every year and we won't waste a tree and we won't waste as much money. My
I
14
love
and I was
that.
like, that is a good idea, Leo. In fact, I like that idea so much. The only reason I was getting these live trees were for you kids. And Lucas, the little one, was like, yeah, let's just get a really big fake one. And I was like,
Oh my God, they're set right now. That's awesome.
so I was like, yes, that's my last live tree. I hate those things. I mean, it was cool at first, but they're a lot of maintenance. You got to water them and stuff. I only have 3 plants I can keep alive.
I just do it because my Christmas. I never like Christmas, and second one, I don't enjoy that. And there's, when you go out, you see a lot of Christmas that is enough for you when you go home and rest. So why are you gonna see more lights in your home?
Right. So,
But that's me. That's me. That's me. Everybody's different. A lot of people love Christmas, and I cannot judge everybody for what is my what I want. But everybody can put every light whatever they want. I don't want to put more lights in my house anymore.
hi,
Hey, Holly.
Holly. Hi, sweetie. Thanks for tuning in, girl. I see you're back on Facebook. Well, welcome back. And thanks for popping on to say hi on my show. Love
Thank
you.
you, Holly.
It's my girl. It's my girl gang. All right. So, well, as you know, my love, that we had a really cool guest planned for today
Yes, I know that.
here in the green room. And today we're going to be talking about thinking, acting, and fulfilling. Like how
I
to take
love
your
that.
life to the next level
I
with
love that.
one of my favorite little brothers,
Yes.
TAF Wisdom. And
Yes.
oh, so we've got Mindful Larvae. We've got AKA Mindful Larvae in
Okay. Let's.
the green room. And we're going to bring him on and we're going to just let him kick some knowledge and learn. Yeah.
Yes. Let's learn. I love this.
Hello, hello. How's everybody doing, guys? How are you doing? And I feel so guilty for being late. I didn't actually, you know what it is, yeah. I literally just saw the time. I was like, "Oi, how did this happen? How did this happen?" Because it was like 4 minutes, if like a few minutes ago. How did you get here? How are you? How's everyone doing? How are you guys?
We're great. We're great. I'm saying hi to my girl. She's shouting us out today. So I'm
Yeah.
super
Oh, that's
excited.
amazing. That's amazing.
So, Tav, how are you been?
I've been very well. It's been busy since the last time we spoke. Time has been flying by, but it's been amazing. A lot has happened. I think I'm feeling a lot more of the presence every day, tapping in a lot more. It's just been bliss, really. I think I haven't really felt the year go past, but I felt the the change in the energy shift all over. No, it's not necessarily the time that I'm feeling now. It's more around the energy rather than the time. So it's a lot different. How has it been for you guys?
Oh.
So a lot has happened
Yeah, yeah,
since we last hung
of
out.
course.
If you didn't see Taf's first episode, go to our Hot Topics Live Facebook page, scroll back, and you'll find an amazing episode with Taf, his first one. We had such a good conversation. We invited
Yes.
him back.
Yes.
So a lot has happened since then, Taf,
Mm.
but all good things.
Uh,
All good things. Yes.
that's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. I can
E-
really say the same.
even the bad things are good things. You know that.
I don't think there really is a bad thing anymore when you get to this stage. You know, you really just look at it and you're like, ah, you're funny.
Yes.
How dare you? As if you've got the audacity to do that. But it's really I finally read well not read, listened to the complete version of Conversation with God by Neil Donald Walsh. It revolutionized everything. It revolutionized everything. Like I don't even know what happened when I was. It was like I was in a time machine when I was listening to that. Like 26 hours of just listening. I was like, how did I even do that? But in the same time period, you know, within January, you know, I started a podcast called The Mindful Hour, which is, you know, the new development. I started that because obviously it was about, you know, metamorphosing, like, you know, metamorphosizing. But obviously, you know, I used to be the mindful caterpillar, but from the mindful caterpillar, I realized that that was too limited. And obviously, we're now living in a multi-dimensional world. Just being a caterpillar, you're just limiting yourself to crawling, and they're just fluttering the eye, you know, when your wings flap. But then obviously now it's all about realizing that is this about fighting adversity. You also got to be able to sting like a bee and also devour everything that's in your way the same way a fly does. You know, just being able to metaphysize that way that all those different insects, they have the ability to just do what they're supposed to do in the way they do it. So now a larva is a lot more broad than just being a caterpillar, and that's what it's been about, and just expressing yourself. And obviously now the TAF Incorporated logo as well is also came with that. Now his wings on it, so so you know it's flying high as a concept came alive. So you know it's really been amazing. Hello.
So I want to. What is that? What is the award that you got? I just like. What is the thing that you? What is the name of that here? That what he wins?
So last year, I got an email, you know, just for from a company that looks at, you know, small businesses within the North Manchester area. And then they sent me the email and they're like, you know, we've just been looking at what you do, and you know, we want to know if you're interested in participating in the awards that we do. And then I was like, yes, that's fine. They asked me to send some information. I sent my information over. And then, yeah, they were happy with everything. They were there. We had a call. And then the call was amazing. They're very happy to work with me. And obviously, from this point on, obviously, because of COVID, we can't have the actual main event. But when we do have the event, it's gonna be crazy. But before then, having the opportunity to be featured in that magazine, which they've got like like a reach of more than 500,000 people, 30,000 people. So it's more than what I could have even anticipated. You know, just for at the beginning of the year, considering that, you know, I've just started writing, not started writing, almost finishing my book, which is, you know, which is something that I'm very excited about, which transformed like what I wrote from when we first started talking about my book to what it looks like now. Different, different. So it's like it has been exciting. You know, listening to Neil Donald's worst ideas. That was also like, you know, liberating to so many ideas that I was, you know, that I left dormant. That I just thought, you know what, I'll keep this down there. And then after the 21st of December, I met so many people. I met so many people who've been like following my stories, my journey. And they're like, no, bro, I just heard about this. What you talk about is similar to what they're saying. Can you just give us some insight? So like now it's got to a point where like now I'm, you know, almost creating like a group or like a tribe. So it's just about now finding the right way to put those people together. And I feel like, you know, the book and the blog post and the podcast and the merchandise that I've also started. If I hasn't arrived yet, I hope it if I arrived and I'll be wearing it. The merchandise is called the Mindful Hour as well, and the slogan is Age of Human Metamorphosis. So it's like I explained, it's about how you can change the way you think to see things multidimensional, even though staying in whatever dimension you're in. Because there's a lava, you're just a lava, but when you emerge, whatever you emerge as is what you are when you come out. So that is the idea, that is the concept of being able to accept yourself as you are, but then expressing yourself in as many ways as you can express yourself in whatever moment you are, without really having that judgment. Because we know flies are important, because they devour and they get rid of waste. Bees, they do the honey. Butterflies, the hurricanes and the wind flow and everything else. So we know the purpose of everything. It's all about, understanding your purpose and being able to develop that purpose and then nourishing yourself to just express that purpose. So that's what the Mindful Lab is all about. And that's what the award I feel is all about as well. The idea that when an opportunity arrives, it's called our Prestige Awards, and the merchandise that I'm pushing on, I call it the Prestige Collection. It's just the idea of just prestiginess. And I remember having a conversation with Kia, and I was talking about imposter syndrome, and I was saying after the book, I think I got rid of it then. So so now it's all about, I know I can do it. I know I'm doing well in what I do. If an opportunity knocks, I'm not gonna be afraid to do it. I'll just do exactly as I need to do it, put as much work as I need to do it. And there's been a lot of blessings, and God has been working over time. I can't stress it enough. I remember it happened on, because I was raised in Catholic church, and I always wanted to be a priest or wanted to be a bishop, but at the same time I didn't like the idea of going to ministry school. But after I started TAF Wisdom Academy, thanks to Kia, after starting TAF Wisdom Academy, I realized majority of what I was actually speaking about takes me to ministry school anyway. So it wasn't now I'm reading. It's not like I'm reading from the Bible and learning from a mentor, and then finding myself becoming my own mentor. Because I remember when we had the first interview call in the when there was like no call, sorry, introduction videos in blogging, when we're talking about who is your inspiration, who is your muse. For me, the muse was TAF, as in the person that I want to become, thinking, acting, and fulfilling the person I want to become. And it's just been that great idea of just nourishing myself and seeing myself grow and questioning why I'm growing the way that I'm growing and changing every single time. It's really exciting. It's really exciting, but
Ex-
it can
That's
be
brilliant.
it can be very, I don't know how I would put it. It can make you lose your mind. You have to be willing to be your own doctor first.
So, Taff, I have some questions
Yeah, I'm
because you
ready.
said a lot of really cool stuff, and I want to just dive a little bit deeper into it. I
Yeah,
want to go back a little bit, and I
that's
want to talk about imposter syndrome,
mm-hmm.
right? Because that's huge. And especially right now, a lot of people are overcoming this whole lockdown situation and
Mm-hmm.
trying to find things to stay positive and keep moving forward. And a lot of us are creating, right? And sometimes we're stepping out of our comfort zone and creating things that we've never done before. So obviously, when you do that, you can start to feel like, who am I to do,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Who, what do I have to say? Who's
yeah,
going to listen to me? Like,
yeah.
what do I have to offer? And now, after everything that you've been through, what would
Mm.
you say to someone who is facing imposter syndrome?
I think for me, I never really understood the value of having a mentor or having like a superhero or like someone that you look up to, like a role model in that sense. Until obviously I joined London Real, and it was after I made my video and I made myself my superhero and I empowered myself in that regard, that I realized that it is important to have someone that you look up to, someone that you want to become. Because, in writing my book, this is like a spoiler, by the way, because I love you guys. There's in chapter 2, it's called The Elusive Reality. If that's why, like, it's similar to when I did Being Tough. So the elusive reality is just how life is sort of just an illusion. So in that, I bring in the mindset, and I've got two different types of the mindset. So initially, I just thought a fixed mindset was just a fixed mindset, which means that you just think you're good and you're good and you're bad and you're bad, and it is just fixed in that way. And I realized in while writing, by the way, inspiration, downloads, that when your a fixed mindset is there for you to remember that you're actually made in the image and likeness of God, that you're perfect, regardless of what you're gonna do, is for you to remember that you're perfect in that way. However, your fixed mindset is connected to your conscious mind, and your conscious mind is connected to your physical body. So, because your physical body only accepts your thoughts, which are electrical impulses, as those charges, so you then have automatic responses. So that's the only way you then understand your fixed mindset. However, because you also have a growth mindset, you understand that although you're fixed, in order to understand you're only fixed, because to know that something is fixed, you have to compare it to something else. That idea of you creating a comparison means you're no longer fixed in where you're on, you're now stepping into a growth mindset. But in forgetting and remembering, you keep playing with those two. But the fixed mindset itself is what plays the major role in having the imposter syndrome, because you're constantly focusing on what you see, what you hear, and what you know, rather than what you don't know. And when you start stepping into a growth mindset, that's when you start nourishing what you know with what you don't know. And that's when you start using that growth mindset, that power of God, and that's where the growth is. When you start working with what you know to create what you don't know. We're using what you don't know because you don't even know what you know by understanding.
That got deep really quick. So,
I
so,
don't know. Now I don't know. I'm lost.
okay, so let's talk about what you don't know.
Yeah,
And I think that what you don't know could be included in the unknown, as we call it. So I think a lot of times when people are facing imposter syndrome, they have also a fear of the unknown,
mm,
right?
yeah,
So they don't know what they don't know,
yeah,
okay?
yeah,
And they need to reinforce what they do know.
yeah,
However, however,
I wanna say something before we continue.
mm,
I probably want you to explain in a very simple way the imposter syndrome, because I don't know too much about it. I know what is the consequences, but I don't know
yeah,
much about it. So a lot of people maybe have the same question like
yeah,
you're
me.
yeah,
right. You're
yeah,
right, Gloria. So I think imposter syndrome is
Yes.
essentially when you feel like you are not qualified to do something that you want to do. You
Okay.
want to write a book, for example, and you're like, well, I've never written a book before. I Who am I to write this book? So I'm not going to do it. And you talk yourself out of doing something because you don't feel like you're qualified or you're good enough or have the value or worth to set
mm,
upon this new activity that you want to do.
yeah,
Okay, so
Right.
that's more clear for people. So now we are talking about how we can eliminate that or trying to resolve that to
yeah.
move forward.
Exactly.
Yes, yes,
Exactly. So what TAF is saying is that you have to really reinforce the things that you think you know before you get started. So if you want to write a book, maybe you should do some more research on how to write a book. And then build upon that with things
yeah,
that you don't know,
yeah.
like more facts about writing and styles and technique
Right.
and everything like that. And then let yourself go with your creativity and step into the unknown, right? Because you could get
Exactly,
downloads
exactly,
and you can get
exactly, exactly,
inspiration
exactly.
and you never were in places you would never expect it to come from. Right,
That's
Tab?
very true. Yeah, and I like how you put the definition as well. For me, it's like, we're not working on the fixed mindset again. You know, going again to the mindful lover again is the idea that in your fixed mindset is about knowing. The fixed mindset is about knowing, and knowing is only in the mind. So when you
Yes.
stick to what you know, it means you're only staying in the mind. It's only after you break out of your mind and actually begin to experience, you realize you actually have to do something. You have to express yourself. You have to actually act. You actually have to do something. So in the act of doing, you're not really thinking about who is doing this, because you're actually the person who's doing it. So you're not really concerned too much about it. So that's how the fixed mindset and the growth mindset and the mindful lover is, what's called facilitating the age of the human metamorphosis in that regard.
Absolutely. So you start with a thought
Yeah,
and you
Right.
evolve past that thought into
yeah,
action.
into action.
So then you can fulfill whatever it is you're desiring to do.
So
It's
so
really
so
those three
so the
things.
fulfilling part, right?
It's
In
like a starting a fire.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
start the
yeah,
light and you
yeah,
grow
yeah,
the light from there.
yeah. So with how I've understood it, it was through Hermetic philosophy, right? That's how I understood it, and obviously the Bible and everything that came. So in Hermetic, is the first is the thought, also in the mind, and then obviously correspondence, what you see, and then I've chosen vibration as the third, because vibration is from what you see. It means when I was writing, I was putting what I see, right, which is the action, the act of doing. I've got two hands that I use. I've got two legs that I use. I've got two sets of eyes that I use to see, two nostrils. There's always like a two part. So that two part is gonna create a rhythm of how I'm acting. And that rhythm of how I'm acting the is the what's called is the reason, or is responsible, yes, is responsible for the results. And obviously when you then see what you're doing, because remember, at the end of the day, you're on observation, seeing the results is then going to actually then give you the feeling of how you feel about your results. And then the feeling of what you have from your results, like we said last time again, is from the heart. So which means it is constantly moving from, okay, now that I've had a thought, with that thought, I've got to step out of that thought to say, okay, cool, I've had a thought, but outside of me, because I can see the thought, because I can hear it, so I should be able to see it. So when you think of something, you look around you all the time to see where can I see the thought, and then you try to act towards it. When you can't act towards the thought, you feel that separation, right? So that separation is what moves you to want to move. So the movement itself, it has to have a pull to it, because your thoughts are electrical, which is why you want to look around. So the movement itself is the pull. So you have to be moving towards something, and the pull is the magnetic force of the heart itself. So which is why you have to be mindful. So being mindful means you have got ideas, you got light in here. Being a lover itself, you then have love, right? Being a mindful lover, if you change the wording or the spelling and change the mindful lover, means you're acting with thought and heart coherence together to give you that idea, and then being pulled toward that idea, because the pulling of the idea is the feeling, right? You already have the feeling, you already know what it is because you've already seen it. So because you already know what it is, because you've already seen it, because when you thought about it, you saw it in your head and you said to look around to see around you, but because you couldn't see around you, you moved to try to see where it was, but because you already know what it was, you were trying to be pulled towards it. So that's where your heart comes in. And then obviously that's how you then begin to get those downloads and definitely begin to pass that imposter syndrome. And that's how it worked for me.
Beautiful. You know what I love about that? And tell me what you think about this too, Gloria. What I love about that is that it's sort of like you emit this frequency. All right. So you send out the signal of what you want. This is like manifestation 101, right?
Yep.
You send out the signal of what you want to create in your life with your thought.
Yep.
And then your emotions sort of what magnetize it back to you, magnetize that experience back to you, really simply put. What do you think about that, Gloria?
I would say in a simple way so people understand, like the thought comes and stays there, and if you don't pay attention, do this and goes away. And goes away, and the thought comes back, but your fear doesn't let it go inside of you, and then again the thought was going away again, because you're not conscious of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And yes, you want things, but you don't do anything to have them. You understand?
I just did a download now with what you just said. Consciousness itself, yeah, it just made sense to me. It's like connectedness. Because whenever we say everything is consciousness, just means everything is connected. So with what you just said, just when you realize that everything is connected, you have to connect the dots. So if you are already connected to what you want, how do you connect the dots? Move from point A to point B. Move there. Just move. Stop sitting there and thinking about how do I get there. Just get
Exactly. Just go through, and you don't need to
One
think
step,
about what's gonna happen. It's gonna
one
happen.
step,
Something's
It
gonna
is gonna
happen.
happen.
and then the
One
next
one
step,
one another
and
is
then the
gonna
next
happen.
step, and then the next step, and then there you go.
Something's gonna
That's true.
happen. Something is gonna happen.
Something is going to happen, and also having the right mindset, the belief in yourself to just take that next step. And that's something that we teach at the academy. For all of you who are unable to attend London Real Academy, here's a gift for you. Okay, just take the next step. What is the next action step that you can take towards your goal? Even if it's small, even if it's a micro step, right? It's a half step, it's a baby step.
just
What
to
is
get
that
the
very
pen.
next thing you can do to
Yeah.
move you forward towards what it is you really want in life?
just to get the pen and write it down in the paper. That is a small step, like Kia was talking about.
That's right. And writing down your ideas is very powerful because then you can see
Yes.
them and you can read them over and over and over and over again. And it really gets it into your subconscious mind that this is what you want to achieve.
And I like how you just put it there. I think I always believed like writing was good. I started journaling before I started writing, and I always used to journal for jokes. I didn't even know what I was journaling, but I was just journaling. Whatever comes to mind, I just write it. And then in doing so, I started to pay more attention to what I'm writing. I wanna know why am I writing this, and in doing so, I realized when you write, I think I also came as a download, and it came as a and it was reinforced by what's his name, Vision, and he was talking about, I think it was him, I'm not sure, but probably him, because I think I've watched too many videos of him in regards to manifesting, so it could be
Yeah.
him. If it's not him, then I don't know who it is. Probably was taught by him. However, he was talking about when you write something. Remember, it's always set in the head. When you write something down, that's the first time you actually see it. And the first time you actually bring it into the physical world and actually make it real in the idea, in the way that we understand realness, rather than just being in your mind. That is actually stepped out of your mind now and actually being now in this world. And now just for you to like, you know what, it is here. And in writing, you see how, I remember, I think it was on, I remember it was probably on Mind Valley. I was watching a TED talk, I think on Mind Valley, I think, because you see how much time I spend on there, which is also where the mindful lava came from, is with the wings. I spent so much time there, and I was watching a TED talk, and there was a woman. She was talking about um changing time and how you can go in your mind and actually alter an event in your head, and then let's say like for healing purposes. She was using like as an idea for healing, but obviously the other ways to obviously use tools when you know how to use them. So she was saying like, someone got cut, and then went back in time, and then the cut was, when they woke up, the cut was healed and everything was fine. And and it was until when I started writing books and actually started writing, that I started to see in writing, after writing Against All Odds, the anthology, whatever I wrote in that anthology, most of it in this book that I'm writing is actually becoming true. Like I'm actually starting to, like, as much as it was true to a degree, but the degrees are increasing. To how much it's becoming more true, because the more I'm writing about it, the more people are reading about it, the more people are thinking about it. So the more it's becoming true. Because I think I was remembering about where I was born. So I was born in Zimbabwe, and in a place called Mazoe. And in Mazoe, during the colonization time, it was very well known for its drink called Mazoe Orange Crush. So it makes really really nice drinks, amazing drinks. So if you like concentrate drinks, so like I think you call them, what do you guys call them in your area? Like the mix, the one where you put the juice and then the water. Dilutables. I think that's a word that we can both agree on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they taste really amazing. And when I was writing, when I started the book, I started as welcoming people into the jungle, because I believe we live in the jungle. Because it was until I read a quote by Muhammad Ali saying, "When you realize it's not the deer crossing the road, but the car crossing the jungle, life will be so different." When I read that, everything became so different, because I actually started to realize a few things. You look around, you see a spider, and we're like, but then there's trees around. We cut down trees to build a house, but then the spider's already here, so we actually came into their house. So it becomes very interesting when you look at it that way. So
Yes.
when I was writing, I said it's introducing people into the jungle, like welcome to the jungle. My name is Dylan, as it goes on, and then in the introduction, I started writing about myself, and I said I was born in Mazoe, which is also like a place which it looks like a jungle, because obviously they grow so many oranges, so many fruits, so it does look a jungle. And I said, this is the jungle which I was born, from which you wish to embark on. And obviously, people always ask me if there's a relationship between the people who do the drink and why I was born there. For my own amusement, because I like to have fun, I was born there, and I am just a limited edition produce of the company that makes the drink. Because I feel like I know, in most cases, when you're in the jungle, my insights provide like a refreshing idea to you. So it's like a refreshing nourishment for the soul. You know what I mean? Quenching the thirst of the soul, that kind of idea. So that's mindfulness. And that kind of mindfulness can only be enjoyed when you've got love within you, which is why the mindful lover was born. And love can only be expressed and experienced. So, which is why we got the wings, because that's the best level of expression you've got. So yeah, that is what's been going on for me.
So, Tav, I have a question for you. So, if person see you today and say, "Oh my God, I like to do what this guy doing. How I can transform my life? This like this guy does." So,
Mm.
what will be your introduction to that person to be going in your journey similar like yours, not like yours, but in the
In a
journey
sim-
of that person? Yeah.
yeah, I think for me, with this, I was told just do it, and sometimes it's very difficult to just do it. You don't know what you're just doing. So I'm gonna put it in the way that I would have wanted it to be explained to me when I started. I'm gonna start by saying do yoga and meditation in this way. I'm gonna explain it in the way that I've understood it. So most of the time when you watch meditation video, or when you listen to anything meditation, they ask you to close your eyes, imagine trees, imagine a happy place. The basic idea of this is just for you to stop thinking about everyday life, stop being worried about everyday life. That's the whole concept. So in saying do yoga and meditation, I mean do them simultaneously, in the sense of just stand there and just move your body the way it wants to move. Don't ask questions, don't ask too much about why it's moving the way it's moving. Just move it. And after you finish the meditation, just sit there and just ask, why did I do that? And then after you get those answers, that's your meditation session done. Because you would have stopped to think about what's going on and just pay attention to what your body actually wants. And then obviously actually pay attention to your body, because when you're actually just stretching and you're actually just doing this, you'd be surprised on how much you can actually do, and how flexible you can be. And that allows you to move past that imposter syndrome of who am I, because you're constantly figuring it out, constantly cultivating the idea of who you are every time when you're doing meditation yoga at the same time. So that's what I can say.
That's the door open to going through that path. I agree with that too. What about you, Kia?
Definitely. I mean, any type of meditation
Meditation.
will bring you, I mean, this is something that changed my life. I can only speak from my experience and what I've seen in others and a lot of my students. In fact, in my course that I'm coaching on right now, we're doing meditation twice a day. So I used to meditate only once a day. Now I'm meditating twice a day, and I'm finding that it is really helping me as I'm embarking on these new projects, things that I've never done before, that I am literally terrified to do, but I'm doing because I'm taking action steps forward. But what keeps me centered and grounded and out of imposter syndrome is going into that meditation, that breathing, that focusing on nothing, that clearing my mind and creating space for downloads or whatever is going to come up, whatever feeling, whatever energy, whatever thoughts are going to be born in that time period. And when that happens, it keeps me centered and grounded in the present moment. And from the present moment, I can make the best choices for the next moment, the next present moment, which is just
Mm.
one continuous present moment. But
Yes.
it's the next right action for me to do in the present moment. If that makes sense, Gloria.
Mm.
Yes. Yes. For me, meditation is also different. For me, meditation is not sitting down. For me, meditation sitting down quiet. And I love like a silence periods, long,
Mm.
like a long periods of silence. I love that. I can
Yeah.
go for 2, 3 hours silent. And in that silence is when I have a lot of intuition. And in
Yeah.
that moments I can write. In that moments, there's a lot of downloads that if you're not focused, you losing a lot of information that you need for your life to be able to go in your life, because life is just not like oh, you're born and you have to do this and this and
A
this.
routine.
Everything that happens to you is a tool. So
Mm.
when you know how to use all the tools, because we are superpower, we are superhumans. When we know how to use all that, we can do anything, anything. I can't
That's
even
true.
I can't even lift that rock up if I want to.
Speaking of meditation, I was actually like just remember there are some people who actually have like an active mind, because I do different types of meditations that I've found in my practices, and one that has worked for me was just a reminder. I'm gonna give it as a reminder first that when you start just thinking of the process of nature in general, when you look at the bee movie, bees go through pollination. The trees then have fruit. We enjoy the fruit. And then after you enjoying the fruit, while you're just sitting there, remembering how nice the fruit is, you're forgetting that you're actually breathing out carbon dioxide, which is going to be good for the tree, which is going to give back to you to get oxygen. So when you actually start to realize your actions and what they do, every action, every small action, regardless of the one that you didn't think about before, you begin to realize how everything is. So for me, in understanding, how to embark on this journey was understanding the cycle of life in veganism, but not necessarily becoming vegan, but veganism in the sense of you want to become one with nature. But how do you become one with nature is to join the cycle. So rather than just taking from the cycle, actually also contribute to the cycle somehow. So if you're also contributing to the cycle, that means you're part of the cycle. That means you're in the cycle. So whatever the cycle can do, you can do. The same way, trees will enjoy the labors of the bee, the same way you enjoy the fruit, and at the same time you also enjoy honey, and you also enjoy wood when it's cold. You know what I mean? Because you understand you're all together, you're all working together, and you're all helping each other to just grow and just continue the evolution process. However, way you, because like I remember in the bee movie, as much as it was good when they stopped doing it, and some people like, oh yeah, we can stop finally working. At the end of it, they couldn't find anything else to do that they could do because everything else stopped working. So because everything stopped working, because one thing stopped working, you can look at the same about your body and your mind. So when you're constantly trying to see how you're working and what's working and what's not working, that's another way of meditation. So it doesn't necessarily have to be sitting down and doing nothing, but just being there and actually observing what's working and what's not working. That's also meditation, because meditation is creation in observation, because life itself is just observation. You're alive because you looked in the mirror this morning and someone told you you are alive. Besides that, you probably wouldn't even know. If you didn't see yourself, you probably wouldn't even know if you're alive. So that's observation is another way of meditation, which can also help you unlock different things around. And like just trying to see random patterns that make things make sense. So the more you can make sense of anything that never used to make sense, the more you know that you're developing yourself.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
I love the way you explained that, Taff. And you
Yes.
know what? There's something else I've been dying to ask you about. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna shift a little bit of gears, but not totally, because Gloria was just talking about intuition, right?
Okay.
And we were talking about downloads and things that come up. And so earlier you mentioned the first time we spoke and our first one-on-one sort of talk that we had at London Real. And in that talk, we talked about oracle cards.
Yeah.
And I know on your website that you offer readings. So
Mm.
let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I want to know that.
How did you discover that you were an intuitive?
Um, I've always known. I think being an intuitive for me was something that I've always known, but I didn't want to know. It was one of those things. For me, that was the imposter syndrome. That was the thing I was fighting. that was my battle. It was like, because I remember when I was very very little, I used to have like dreams that would really come to pass, or just be like walking around and I'll have like a wave, and then I'll just see what's gonna happen. I'll just assume what's gonna happen. I'll see it happening. I'll just make the right choice at the right time. I always used to question it, or like I'll just be like, oh, like when you're watching a movie, and obviously you do this as kids. You're watching a movie. 99 of 100%, I would always get the what's called the word right when the person's gonna say it before I've even watched the movie. And for me, that's when I realized that wisdom is something that I wanted. And because at the same time, in wanting wisdom, I also felt that I was chosen, because people who had the gift that I had in movies that I was, they were always chosen. So which means I found myself to be similar to David in that regard, that I am chosen. But there was no one who could tell me that I was chosen, because the only person that could tell me was me, because a long time ago I decided the only person who could tell me was me. So
Exactly.
for me, it took remembering that first. So I had to remember that for me to then remember everything else that comes with it. For example, remembering that I'm already an intuitive then means that things like anything else that comes from life begins with intuition, because to know you're about to step into a car or to be a driver, you gotta intuitively know how to turn the key. So the more you begin to exercise your intuition, the more you begin to exercise every single aspect of your life. However, tarot reading became more useful when I started to do visualizations, because they work in terms of imagery and the things that you don't necessarily want to see, or the things that you don't see but don't really acknowledge. That's what it works on. It works on your shadow side. So tarot works on your shadow side, which is why a lot of people don't like tarot, because it's your subconscious, which is why it's called the shadow side. It is your subconscious, the parts of you that isn't connected to you consciously. So because of that, it is your shadow. But then at the same time, I've realized that your subconscious mind isn't necessarily separate from you, in the sense of your subconscious mind is your shadow, as in your subconscious mind is the people around you. So the actions of the people around you is your subconscious mind. How the people around you are going to behave around you is your subconscious mind. The action that you're unaware of, but you're just going to do. Automatic responses, I don't know how you're going to respond, but you're just going to respond anyway. That's your subconscious mind, from how I've understood it, because that's how you understand it, and that's then becomes the collective. So when you look at tarot, when you pick a card, it is a shadow, because it is another reflection of you. It is a choice. Choices are shadow sides of us. So that choice they have made is then going to reflect itself onto you, because you're going to discern whatever that card is going to mean. The same way in us having this conversation, I don't even know if you understand half of what I'm going to say until you respond. And when you respond, you don't even know if I get it, and even however I respond, but you're just going to be like, I think you got it. And if you think I got it, then I got it. Then it is that. So at the end of the day, you've had the conversation by yourself, because whatever decision you've made, you had to. So it is that's how I've come to understand tarot, by having that kind of mindset, in the sense of everything around you, every choice you make is just another reflection, it's just another way for you to be able to reinvent yourself in that regard. That, what, like when you're talking about the fixed mindset, that you already know what you are, but when you observe, you're separating yourself, you're to create something else. So in tarot reading, wherever you're gonna pick up and whatever you're gonna take, you're allowing yourself to pick another idea of who you can become, in the process of reinventing yourself. So that's how tarot can help you to grow, to process your intuitive abilities, because you're constantly intuitively guessing or intuitively cultivating who you're meant to be within the next moment.
Wow, that's amazing. And so do you feel like there is a great difference between tarot readings and oracle readings?
Um, there is, in terms of how the cards are made, and how because it's just like saying, there is a difference in the cards themselves and the symbolism of the cards, but generally speaking, there isn't a difference. The difference would be the card itself. How much information can you get from the card? That would be the difference. So it would be, tarot is more like base level. Tarot is just like the basic stuff, the easy things. It's easy to interpret. You know what it is. Oracle is more about the feeling. So more oracle is more intuitive than tarot. Tarot feels shadowy, because it's like you don't really know much, because anything is not really set in stone, because I don't know how you're gonna respond. It is a way I can try and set the conversation as much as possible, but you're gonna respond is however it is. However, oracle card reading is quite more specific, because it brings more information. There's more details on the cards, from my perspective anyway. There's more details on the cards, and it brings more of positive angelic vibe to it, in comparison to tarot, considering that the fact it's already seen as a shadow work, in the sense that you're working on the subconscious mind, but whereas the oracle is more about your higher perspective.
Yeah. So what do you let me just ask one more question, Gloria. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
do you think the the person who you're reading for it gets most from getting readings?
I
Like how
think
does it help them?
the relationship is the interaction between me and the person who's reading, because however I'm going to interpret the cards is my interpretation. But however, the person going to interpret the cards is based on how I deliver the information, and whether they receive that information is based on our relationship. So if we haven't built that, if we can't cultivate that trust, that relationship, sometimes it's actually quite deep. I did a reading for someone. I think it was the most detailed, in-depth reading I've ever done, but the person missed it. They actually, it was so there. I was like, oh, she was asking about true love, and obviously in the way that she asked the question anyway, before she asked the question, I even advised her that don't ask me the question taking away your free will, because you already have your free will. So when you do ask your question, remember you've got the free will, you just want to know the action steps. Remember, it's your shadow work. You want to know the action steps, what you have to do, what have you already done to get there. So you just want to remember. So when she asked that question, and when she was remembering her question, and when she came back to me, her question still felt like she didn't have the answers, like she still was taken away. She wasn't giving herself the free will to just remember that, look, for true love to work for you, I drew the queen for her. That was one of the bigger card, the main cards. That for it to work, it was the Queen of Swords actually. For it to work, you gotta have stay sharp in it. No, whatever choice you're gonna make, the choice that you wanna take. It's all gonna start from you because you're the queen. You're the ruling power. You're the sword. The sword is about like taking charge, leading, driving things. So you gotta realize you're gonna be the driver. By the end of the day, you have to make the choices. This is depending on you. You have to decide what choice you're gonna make. You have to decide who you're gonna have a conversation with. You're gonna have to decide what you're gonna do. That's very vague, but it still gives the idea that it is there. You're gonna get it as long as you decide what you're gonna do. But obviously, someone who's not really aware of stepping to their free will, it's very difficult to realize that what, being the queen means yes, I've got the power, but the power itself can only be realized when I accumulate it, or when I grow it, by interacting with other people, by interacting with other nations, having good relationships, and then from those relationships deciding who serves me the most and who doesn't. And with those who serve me the most, how can we, make this union serve us more? So that's how someone with that kind of mindset, with that kind of ideology, would then be able to get that reading. But for someone who doesn't have that mindset, it can be very difficult to get that and to get to that stage, which is why it is I think when before you do a reading for anyone, you give them an understanding of what they're getting and what's in there. Because even for her, I can give the history of tarot, why people use tarot, and how it works. But after many different conversations, this is then say, oh, I get it now. So that's what it was. So then I realized that, okay, so even in that, it's about finding how do you build a relationship. It's so, which is why I think it's very, why tarot is not as trusted by many people, because many of the readings that people do, they only do them online, because when you actually want to go for an actual reading, it's very expensive for the reasons that I've just outlined, which is what I didn't know before. But which, when just do a reading online, it's very, very vague. You don't really get a lot you don't really get a lot of information on it. You don't really know what's going on. So you end up being overwhelmed by confusion, that you don't actually miss the glory and all the benefits that actually come with it. And yeah, I think when you're doing tarot and doing reading for someone, it's important that you have as much detail about how much it's all down to your own understanding of who you are as an individual.
That's a great
Oh,
answer.
wow.
What do you think, Gloria?
It's awesome. So how long it takes, like a person wants to have an article, a reading with you, how it works? Like you need, Nimi can make an appointment with you. How long it's gonna take? What is the process?
For me, with the process of reading so far, it's been someone who request it, and then I'll take with I'm gonna be very honest. It takes time to do a reading, to fully look at all the information. I have to be in the right mindset. I have to prep myself. I have to prep everything. Everything has to be intuitively right. Yeah, I have to use intuitively right before just using right. So when everything feels intuitively right, it's about, that's with oracle card reading different to tarot, because tarot can do it anytime. With oracle, everything is about the higher thought. So you have to see things from a higher perspective. So everything has to be intuitive. So for when I did oracle card reading, when I was doing my training, when you get into the space and you do the reading and you do the shuffling, you will know how the cards want to be. The cards themselves, they have their own, it's like when you start working with things intuitively, you you get to a stage where it's kind of like telekinesis, but it's not. But you allow things to you allow energy to work without you actually forcing it to work. It's like, like that concept when people say, oh, when you put your fingers together like this and you focus on them to move together, they start moving together. It is the same principle. It is the same process. So when you start shuffling the cards, you start to build a charge, or to magnetize the cards, to speak. So you begin to magnetize the cards because you're intuitively paying attention to the energy, because that's the most important thing. Because when you're working with oracle cards or anything to do with the subconscious realm, it's all energy. So you're working with the subconscious mind. So you're intuitive feeling the energy. So you're intuitive feeling which cards are being magnetized and which cards you have to pick out. So when you feel those cards that you need to pick out, you then feel how those cards want to be interpreted, how those cards want to be. Does that make sense? Everything now begins down to intuition. So when you keep bringing it down to intuition, it's now inspiration. So you don't always have inspiration, because intuition and inspiration, they work hand in hand. Because if you're not inspired, sometimes you don't really see that you're intuitive. Does that make sense? So when you've got that inspiration, you can work with that inspiration, but it's also about understanding that I am purposefully intuitive, and I'm purposefully choosing to work this way. So it's no longer a job, but you're choose to work with that process because you have intuitively felt that process and I give you the best possible result, because you're looking for the highest outcome. So you're going to do the highest possible choices, make the highest possible choices, so to get the highest possible good. So which means everything that you're going to do, you're going to make sure in the right state of mind, in the right, everything is intuitively perfect to get the perfect result. And then when you put everything on paper and you give it to the person, you're going to give it perfectly, with the person perfectly ready to receive it, because you've done everything in accordance to that result. And then everything, when you see it, even when she responded to me and she didn't get it, normally I'll just be like, you know what, that's fine. But for her, I actually challenged her. I was like, you have so much more work to do if you're asking me the question this way, because I gave you everything there. That was the first time I actually challenged someone after I've given them a reading. Normally I go with their understanding, like that's fine. But with her, I intuitively felt I had to challenge her. And then after challenging her, she then had the answers she was looking for. And then she was more grateful that way. And I felt better.
That's wonderful. So, you guys, we have 1 hour.
Yeah.
I have low battery too, so
So it's time that we wrap up the show. But Taff, I want to thank you so much for coming back and sharing with us lots more of your wonderful knowledge and your perspective and your tips for fulfilling life and your manifestations and leveling up and whatever it is you want to do. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure being here. Always a
Ta-
pleasure speaking to you guys.
Taf,
So
thank you
much
so
lovely energy.
much.
Thank you guys. Next time.
I wanna do an oracle with you.
Oh, I have your Instagram. I have your Instagram. I don't have my cards with me, but because I'm in Northampton at the moment. But when I go back to Manchester, I'll do a card reading for you. I will give you as much details as I can about it, and then obviously you can make your own assumption from there, and then you can just enjoy the fruitfulness of life.
Let's see. Yeah.
Wonderful. So,
Yeah.
congratulations on your writing, your
Thank
book,
you.
your
Thank
upcoming
you.
book, your Prestige Award. We're so proud of you, especially me.
Yeah.
It's
Right. You too.
always amazing to see my babies doing great things in the world. So proud of you. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much.
coming. I'm going
Next
to put
time.
you in the green room. If you can stick around, I'll say hi after we wrap. If not, it's okay. I'll catch up with you later. Sending
That's
you love.
okay. Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye, honey. Ooh,
Wow.
that was good. I love it intuitive. I am intuitive. I
Me
often use
too.
to help others when I can. And I just love it so much. And so I love to talk to other intuitives and see what their tools are and how they help people. It's brilliant. So that was a good one, huh, Gloria?
I love it because I'm also very intuitive like you, and when I say something that is gonna happen, a lot of a lot of times happen that way. So I'm kind of a little bit a little bit. I'm always not worried. I'm always conscious of what I'm gonna do and say, because I know that will come with another, like a different how you say, like when you're acting and when you do stuff, the way you do stuff, that's the way the wave and the energy is going to come back to you. So you need to be very careful what you do. And when you have your intuition on you, you have to like okay, this is what my body or my mind's telling me, and maybe you give a pause about it and go and do it. And sometimes I don't know what happens to you, Kia. Sometimes I don't do it, and I knew that's gonna happen.
Girl, you're preaching to the choir. It took me a long time to listen to that inner knowing because there's a lot of clairs out there,
Yes.
clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyant, claircognizant, and understanding being an empath and all of those clairs really sort of helped me because there's been so many times where I heard like a little voice in my head tell me not to do something or to
Right.
do something, and I did the opposite, and boy, was it a mess. It was
Right.
a mistake, and I paid for it. So I've learned over the course of my life to listen, and actually meditation really helps me with that as well. So anyway, I think we better wrap it up.
Yes, wrap it up.
So I am Kia Baker. I am the creator and host of the Female Veterans Podcast, a woman warrior stories, and success coach at London Real Academy. Some amazing new projects coming up, with I'll share as they develop. But for now, just know there's lots of cool things in the works. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. Set that notification bell so you know when we come live. And if you're watching on Facebook, please share, follow us, set your notifications so if we pop live, you won't miss out. And we appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. And I appreciate your time and just love you to pieces. So stay positive, stay happy. And sitting next to me, well, in North Carolina, I mean,
Yes.
in an undisclosed location, is my beautiful and talented and exceptionally good at hiking co-host.
Gloria Goldberg. Who else? The first one.
That's right.
So, well, yes, like Kia said, I'm Gloria Goldberg, the founder of the podcast Unbreakable Life with Glory, where I talk about depression, anxiety, and PTSD in a holistic way and natural way to always make you feel better. And also the founder and the co-host of the bilingual show, The Gloria. That's the Fridays. One Friday is in Espanol, one Friday is in English. But this Friday is not going to be a show because we're in my location. I don't have very good signal. So it's going to be for next Friday. And that's it, Kia, for today.
Easy. That's it. Tune in tomorrow. We will be back with Dr. Shaman, who's amazing. He's going to teach us about heart health. And that's tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. And we will see you then.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Love
Bye,
you.
Kia. Love you. Talk to you
Bye,
later.
honey. Have fun.